Hello, and welcome to Celebsphera, the place where we break down the stories the industry hopes you never notice. If you crave raw truth, real tension, and the kind of drama everyone else is too scared to touch, you're in the right place. And today's topic? A clash nobody ever saw coming. Katt Williams versus Snoop Dogg. Two legends, two powerhouses, and one fallout that's shaking the entire culture. Buckle up, because this story isn't just wild, it's explosive.
Career down the road. People might not want to book you in Texas or Arizona or California.
Sir. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
It all started with a warning. And not from the police, a rapper, or any industry watchdog. This warning came straight from Katt Williams himself. Yeah, Katt didn't just hint, he declared it. And the moment those words left his mouth, everything shifted. Because when Katt Williams issues a warning, it's never random. It's a signal that something deeper, darker, and way more personal is unfolding behind the scenes.
Snoop is just really hilarious.
Snoop Dogg is funny,
he's doing all these things.
Katt Williams, the man who has never censored a syllable, never sugarcoated a truth, and definitely never protected Hollywood feelings. And this time, he's coming straight for Snoop, calling him out for what he claims is nothing less than selling out. Or, as Katt put it with zero hesitation, turning into a political dog. According to Katt, this wasn't evolution, this was submission. And he wasn't about to let it slide. Katt didn't hold back, not for a second. He fired off the line with that signature, razor-sharp precision. No, sir. Down the road, people might not want to book you in Texas, Arizona, or California. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And the way he said it? You could feel the sting in every single word. A warning wrapped in sarcasm, aimed straight at Snoop's legacy.
Yeah. Get your life right. Stop worrying about mine. I'm cool. I'm together. Still a black man. Still 100% black.
Katt wasn't joking. He was firing a full warning shot. Because when Katt speaks, it's never for clout or clicks. He only steps in when something in the culture feels off. And according to him, Snoop is walking a dangerous line, caught between power, politics, and loyalty. Katt made it clear, this isn't just controversy, it's a crossroads.
Say this real quick, not on the political shit. All you people for the federal government that not getting paid right now, ain't no fucking way in the world y'all can vote for Donald Trump when he come back up again. If y'all do vote for him, y'all some stupid.
Katt's been tearing through Hollywood all year, exposing fake alliances and backdoor deals. Steve Harvey, Cedric, D.L. Hughley, nobody's been safe. But the moment he brought up Snoop Dogg, the entire room fell silent. Because Snoop isn't just another rapper. He's a symbol, a cultural giant. So when Katt called him out, everyone knew the game had officially changed.
Inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States of America, Snoop Dogg performed at the Crypto Ball. Now, Snoop Dogg, he got the backlash because people are like, wait, this isn't the same Snoop from 2016 who had so much to say about the art.
To Katt, this new Snoop, the one shaking hands with CEOs and cozying up to politicians, is an evolution. It's betrayal. Katt doesn't see it as leveling up. He sees it as straight-up selling out. The man who once rapped about dodging danger and surviving chaos is now standing shoulder to shoulder with the very system he used to warn people about. And to Katt Williams, that shift isn't growth. It's a warning sign.
So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the out one of you Uncle Tom ass for doing it. Which one?
Snoop Dogg is a legend, no question. A man who went from death row records to the White House, from the streets to mainstream America. People still remember the old Snoop, the one who once said, "I ain't into no political, __. All you folks in the government not getting paid, that ain't right." That was the Snoop who spoke for the people. The Snoop who stood beside Pac. The Snoop who survived death row and still barked truth. But according to Katt Williams, that Snoop is long gone. Somewhere along the way, Snoop stopped barking truth and started cozying up to power. And Katt's message hit a nerve because he wasn't just criticizing a rapper, he was calling out a symbol. This isn't the same Snoop Dogg people grew up admiring. This is the Snoop who hangs out with Martha Stewart, pops up in insurance commercials, and sells pet food on TV. And Katt Williams is asking the question everyone else has been whispering. What happened to the dog who made the streets proud?
It's just really hilarious.
Snoop Dogg is funny,
He's doing all these things.
So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the out of one of you Uncle Tom ass niggas for doing it. Which one of you?
That's what's got Katt fired up. He feels like the real Snoop, the authentic dog the world fell in love with, got lost somewhere behind the fame, the sponsorships, and the billionaire circles. Now, don't get it twisted, Katt still recognizes Snoop as a legend. He said it himself. Snoop kicked down doors for an entire generation, brought West Coast culture into the mainstream, and made success look effortless. But in Katt's eyes, somewhere along the climb, the soul of the story changed.
Of course, Snoop has responded to the backlash he received for performing for a Trump event. One of the things he pointed out was that we always stick together. We're good at tearing each other apart, which is pretty constant. It's pretty consistent when somebody gets into trouble. It takes backlash from the community. It's always a communal thing. It isn't any action they took. It is the fact that we can't stay together, that we can't stick together, that it's us always attacking us. But that flies in the face of the reality of what's happening right now. It is not us who are tearing down affirmative action. It is not us who is tearing down DEI. It is not us who are tearing families apart. It is not us who have decided that affirmative action and rollbacks that have been that had precedent for 50, 60 years are gone. It is not us that is doing it. It is, I think most people are disappointed because they saw you a specific way, and you have a right to kind of interpret and do whatever artistically you want to. No one's begrudging you that. But why the attack on the community because they disagree with something you did?
But in Katt's eyes, something shifted. The rawness, the fearlessness, the voice that once spoke for the people. It's fading. The Snoop who used to stand against the system is now smiling right beside it. And in a world where authenticity gets buried and real voices get silenced or bought out, Katt Williams refuses to stay quiet. Katt is calling it out exactly how he sees it. Loud, sharp, and without a single apology. And when Katt speaks, the whole room pays attention because he says the things most people are too scared to even whisper. But where did this tension between two icons begin? Let's rewind. Back in the early 2000s, Snoop Dogg was untouchable. He survived the death row storm, dodged industry traps, reinvented himself, and built a legacy nobody could deny. Snoop wasn't just a rapper, he was a cultural force. Blessed by Jay-Z, Ice Cube, 50 Cent, everyone who carried real weight in hip-hop. Snoop was the ultimate OG, the calm mentor, the wise uncle, the figure everyone looked up to. But then, things started to shift. Fans began noticing a different kind of Snoop. A Snoop showing up at political events, rubbing shoulders with power players, defending certain celebrities while staying eerily silent about others. A Snoop backing brands, campaigns, and causes that didn't match the man who once spoke for the streets. And that's when Katt said he caught the first red flags. The kind of moves that make you wonder whether someone's still real, or just acting for the cameras. Then Katt dropped one of the coldest lines he's ever delivered. When they can't control you, they cancel you. And when they can't cancel you, they recruit you. In Katt's eyes, that's exactly what happened to Snoop. The industry stopped trying to silence him and instead brought him into the circle. Polished, packaged, safe. But the real tension didn't spark until Katt started watching how Snoop handled the major issues shaking hip-hop. When artists were getting blacklisted, Snoop stayed quiet. When people in the game started exposing the industry's darkest secrets, Snoop played the peacemaker. And when conversations about exploitation and abuse surfaced, he didn't say a single word. To Katt, that silence wasn't harmless, it was a warning. Like none of it had anything to do with him. But the moment Hollywood rolled out a red carpet or hosted a celebrity charity gala, there was Snoop, front row, smiling for cameras from every angle. To Katt Williams, that wasn't loyalty. That was survival. A man protecting his position, not his people. And that's what Katt says cuts the deepest. Because if there's one thing Katt has built his entire career on, it's calling out the truth, even when it burns bridges. So when a legend like Snoop stays silent? To Katt, that feels like betrayal. So when Katt said, "I'm sending Snoop his last warning. Stop being a political dog," he wasn't throwing shade. He was firing a shot directly at someone he once respected. A line drawn in the sand. In Katt's world, there are only two types of dogs. The street dog, loyal, fearless, raw, unfiltered, driven by truth. And then there's the political dog, trained, polished, obedient, groomed to keep the system comfortable. Katt believes Snoop used to be the first type, wild, real, unpredictable, the voice of the streets. But now, he's acting like the second, a man groomed to protect the industry instead of shaking it. And honestly, you can't pretend Katt doesn't have a point. These days, Snoop is on TV more than he's in the booth. He's hosting cooking shows instead of pulling up to community events, selling products instead of sending messages. He's not just an artist anymore. He's a corporation. One of the biggest ever, sure, but Katt is asking the question nobody else wants to ask. At what price? Katt's not knocking success. He's not anti-growth. He's asking something real. One holding down rap, the other dominating comedy, both loved, both respected, both raised by the same culture. Back in the 2000s, their vibe was solid. Snoop showed Katt nothing but love, guest spots, radio shows, backstage laughs, inside jokes. There was real mutual respect. But as the years rolled on, something shifted. While Katt was out here naming names, Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, Cedric the Entertainer, Snoop stayed silent. Not even a whisper. And what hit Katt even harder? The same people he was exposing were the same people Snoop was smiling next to in photos, like none of it ever mattered. To Katt, that wasn't loyalty. That was betrayal dressed up in designer fits. What kind of growth are we celebrating? Did Snoop evolve as a man, or just evolve as a brand? Because those are two completely different things. And coming from Katt Williams, that question hits different. Katt never cared about fame or Hollywood approval. Never has. The industry threw everything at him. Blacklisting, arrests, smear campaigns. And he still never folded. Never softened his voice. Never switched sides to stay comfortable. That's why people trust Katt. Because he has no ties, no fear, no image to protect. He's not scared of losing fans or checks. What scares him is what happens when real voices go silent. And here's where it cuts even deeper. Snoop and Katt aren't strangers. They didn't rise in two separate worlds. They're both West Coast giants. Because if you really stand on truth, you don't go quiet when your voice is needed the most. And that's exactly where Katt Williams drew his line. He said it plain and simple. You can't claim you're for the people while shaking hands with the puppeteers. And everybody knew exactly who that line was aimed at. Straight at Snoop. Katt didn't hint, didn't tease, didn't tiptoe. He wanted the message to cut. And honestly, this isn't the first time Snoop's been accused of shifting sides. Back in the chaotic death row days, he was all street loyal, loud, unfiltered. He stood on business, moved with Pac, and talked like a man with nothing to lose. But after Tupac's death, everything changed. Snoop stepped back from Suge Knight, distanced himself from death row, and started building new alliances. To this day, people still argue whether that was survival or switching sides. After leaving death row, Snoop joined Master P at No Limit, then reinvented himself again. Corporate Snoop, Hollywood Snoop, and eventually full-blown celebrity icon Snoop Dogg. He's transformed more than any rapper of his era. And that reinvention is what kept him alive in the industry. But it's also the reason some fans started side-eyeing him. They wondered if the same dog that once barked against the system was now standing guard for it. And here's the truth. Katt isn't trying to destroy Snoop's legacy. He's not jealous. He's not bitter. He's questioning the soul behind the evolution. He's basically saying, you used to lead the culture. Now you follow the machine. And that hits hard. Because Katt's not talking about fame, he's talking about integrity. And in his eyes, Snoop stopped being the voice of the people and turned into a polished brand that plays by Hollywood script. Now, Snoop hasn't clapped back at Katt. Not directly. Not publicly. At least not yet. But the internet? It jumped in instantly. And the whole conversation split straight down the middle. On one side, people are saying Katt's just bitter, jealous of Snoop's mainstream success, mad he never got the same corporate love. They argue Snoop did what any survivor would do: evolve, stay relevant, secure the bag. After everything he's lived through, they say he's earned the right to shake hands with whoever he wants. He paid his dues. He survived the fire. He deserves the freedom. But the other side? They're riding with Katt all the way, claiming he's the only one with the guts to say what the culture has been whispering for decades. They say Snoop's been double-dipping, preaching real while cashing corporate checks, talking about the streets while living like a brand ambassador. And honestly, neither side is completely wrong, because this isn't just Katt versus Snoop anymore. It's a clash between two visions of what success really means. Snoop represents the survivor, the man who outlived the chaos, stayed relevant, and built a global empire. Katt represents the rebel, the one who refuses to bend, even when the world tries to break him. Two worlds colliding. Play the game or expose the game. It's a collision of two philosophies. Truth versus tolerance. Rebel versus rulebook. The fighter versus the figurehead. Katt stands for the raw, unfiltered people. Snoop stands for the dream, the legend who escaped the chaos, leveled up, and built an empire. Both men started real. Both men changed the culture. But only one of them refuses to play the Hollywood game. And in Katt's eyes, that's the difference. It's not about money, fame, or awards. It's about who still stands on truth when the lights go dim. So Katt looks at Snoop and asks the question lighting up the entire internet. Are you still the dog from Long Beach? Or just another piece of the machine? What happens next? Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Because in this industry, silence speaks louder than words. And if Snoop stays silent, that might not mean peace. It might mean power is still pulling strings behind the curtain. This is Celeb Real, where we break down the drama behind the shine. So smash that like button, hit subscribe, drop your thoughts below, and tell me, is Katt right? Did Snoop sell out? Or is Katt fighting the battles nobody else will touch? Let's talk about it. And I'll see you in the next one.